All righty, here we go again. Happy 2021. Um, so you will need a firm chair to sit on today. I actually have a lower stool and I have a bigger chair. I think I'll probably use the chair in class when we need it. If you have not already told me which of the little workshops you'd prefer, please do that because I've got to make a decision. And right now it's everybody wants something different. So I'm kind of thinking of ending up doing all of those and letting you have whichever one for free. I haven't decided. So um, that would be good. Now, so far we have studied ahimsa, which is nonviolence, and that brings on an aura of peace that protects self and the others once we start working with that. Mark, don't need the audio. Okay. Satya, which is truthfulness, that teaches us that spoken words always come true. And we've examined how we speak to others, how we talk to ourselves. And the one that we're going to work on now is Asteya, which is non-stealing. And these all go together in such a great way. It's pretty, I love this. I love the yamas and the niyamas. So when we practice Asteya, which is non-stealing, it actually leads to more abundance in our lives. Asteya asks us to live with integrity and reciprocity so that we give back more kindness to others when we receive kindness from them, so that we're always putting back out the loving kindness and compassion into the world that's being given to us rather than just being takers. We want to be able to give that back to others as well. Now, if we're living in fears and lies, our dissatisfaction with ourselves and our lives causes us to look out in the world. And then we have a tendency to try to steal what is not ours. So I'm going to say that again. If we're living in fears and lies, then we become really dissatisfied with ourselves. We become dissatisfied with our lives. And then when we look out in the world, we begin to have a tendency to steal what is not actually ours. And all I could say as I was planning this out was, yikes. This is what is happening today in politics right now in our own country with the attempted siege. Think of the people so many of the people who are drawn to the Stop the Steal movement, who are so drawn to Trump. Many of them are so dissatisfied with their lives. They're living in fear. They're embracing lies in their lives. And because of all of this, they're going out and trying to steal what is not rightfully theirs because of the lies. So we have this like perfect example of stealing in action and what happens by focusing on and embracing our fears and listening to untruths and trying to integrate those in our lives. We have a tendency in our world to steal from ourselves and from the earth, as well as from the future. So, stealing from the earth is how we use our earth's resources, and thinking of pollution, how we manage the environment, our dietary and food choices, those types of things. But as we cause more pollution, as we use more resources, we're stealing from our children's futures, from our grandchildren's future, but from our own futures. Instead of trying to live in a place of more balance and harmony. And I know that most of you really work on this in your lives already, but it's something that we have to constantly check in with in our lives and check in with for ourselves to try to at least pay attention to what we're stealing and what we're taking and what we're stealing from our futures. And It becomes a practice, not to feel guilty over, but to see in what ways you can maybe get a little better, little improvements every year, just every year, add something new on, add a little something that will make the load of the earth a little bit lighter. So we're not always taking, but we're able to use more responsibly and give back more. We are stealing when we live our lives through others. If we are trying to make our children do the things that we never did because we think we should have. I've actually heard people say that. Well, I want this for my kids because I didn't have it, and I should have done it this way. That's stealing from them because we're trying to live through them and gain what we did not have to begin with. When we do one-upping of others, when they tell a story and we have to tell one that's a little bit better or a little bit more interesting, and turn the conversation to be about us, we're actually stealing their story. An example of this would be if somebody was trying to tell us about recently losing a parent and how devastating it was, rather than just listening to them and being present with their story, we decide that we need to tell them about the loss of our parent. When we shift that conversation back to ourselves, we're stealing from their experience at the time. And that's not to say that we can't share a bit of wisdom or a bit of knowledge from that, from our own experience, to help them if it's a help. But we want to be careful that we don't shift that focus to ourselves. When we don't pay attention to other people or we discount their stories, we're also stealing from them and their experience. The perfect example I thought of this was as being a teacher in the public schools. I felt that sadly, so many of the teachers never listened to the kids and never listened to the students. It was all about what they thought the kids needed to do, how the kids needed to do it, how the kids needed to be held accountable. They had to do this, they had to do that. And they never took long enough to listen to the stories that were going on in the children's lives and the struggles they had with learning or how it was being presented or all the busy work or whatever. There's so much richness in the stories of the kids and their experience of school that could have informed how the material was presented to make it more accessible. But instead, because their experience is being discounted and they're not being listened to, their education at times is being stolen from them by the teachers. When we're unhappy, a lot of times we drag down others. It's almost like we're feeling miserable, so everybody else has to be miserable around us. And if they're not going to be miserable, I sure as hell am going to make sure that they are. That type of thing. We're stealing from others when we make snide comments too, out of jealousy. Yeah, jealousy. When we make snide comments. Yogi Bhajan said, be a forklift, always lifting others up. And while it's hard imagery for me because I have an overactive imagination, that really is a good way to think about it. We want to be uplifting other people, bringing them up in the world, having them feel better just by being in our presence, rather than pulling them down, dragging them down to where we are. We want other people to feel better simply by being with us, rather than having them feel like something precious is taken away or stolen from them. And I can only say that I'm sure we all have one or two people in our lives who we've known over the years. So no matter what, when we're around them, we come away just feeling tired and depressed and whatnot, just by being near them and listening to them. So that's another way that we steal from others. So the practice for this week is to notice when and how you steal from others through time, attention, one-upmanship, power, confidence, and not being able to celebrate others' successes. Notice what's happening in you that prompts a stealing. And then practice being that forklift so that everyone you come in contact with feels uplifted because they were in your presence. So that's your practice for the week. I'm sure I have a lot of opportunities since we're all in pretty much isolation, but try to do this with whoever you see in your life and ponder maybe how this has impacted you in the past. So, with that, it's time for our mats. So, if you would please just begin by lying nice and long in your mat. And check in with your body, doing a soma scan. Starting with the top of the head, and scanning on down to the tips of the toes. Paying attention to what you pay attention to. Noticing what you notice. Relaxing and releasing any spots that might have a little bit of extra tension in them. And with the legs nice and long, please begin by just exhaling all your breath. Try to get as empty as you possibly can in your body. And then with that umbrella breathing, start to draw that breath in slow and deep from the belly, lifting up, 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 and coming to the rib cage and expanding nice and wide, like that umbrella opening up. As that breath comes up through the rib cage, floating those collarbones up in the air. And then like that umbrella, with that exhalation, just allow the top of the rib cage to slowly release down towards the ground again, towards the pelvis again, till that belly is finally released. Do these nice, long, slow breaths. Really feeling that wide expansion of the rib cage at the bottom. These are nice, deep, full yogic breaths. And if you can, notice on the inhalation how there's a small, slight bulging in the pelvic floor. And with the exhalation, how that releases. And then just for a few breaths, if you can, make that exhalation a little bit longer than the inhalation. Again, you can do this if it's a challenge by making that inhalation a little bit smaller than you have been. Or, my favorite one, is to take a pause at the top of the inhalation, just 1 or 2 seconds, and then begin that long, slow exhalation. And then if you would please, 1 foot at a time, bring your feet to the soles of the feet to the mat with the knees up in the air in constructive resting pose. And then balance the weight between the heels and the balls of the feet so it feels evenly distributed. Making sure the knees aren't dropping out or dropping in towards each other. And then begin those slow, gentle arch and flattening motions in the body. And as we go into that arch, we allow the sit bones to roll down towards the mat. So if we're trying to roll that tailbone down, the hips are rolling forward and down towards the mat. And we feel that lower part of the spine go into an arch, as if that belly button is being pulled up to the sky with a string. And then that long, slow release from the arch. And then rolling the hips in the opposite direction so that that spine flattens on the mat as the bum lifts up off the ground a bit. Just this lovely, slow, rolling motion back and forth in the body. And then if you'd like to, we can make this motion grow a little bit in the body. And the next time you go into your arch, please allow the backs of the shoulders to press down onto the mat below you. And releasing back to neutral. And then rolling the back into the curling motion, but allowing the fronts of the shoulders to float upwards towards the sky above. This will make the spine press even further up the neck onto the mat. Little mini arch and curl in the body. Back and forth. And then let's release from this mini arch and curl and the arch and flatten. And just stay in easy resting pose. And back in neutral. We're just going to do a few knee drops here. We're going to alternate those knee drops. Remember, we want to keep that opposite hip, the back of the opposite hip down on the mat. If it starts to lift up, become unengaged from the mat, then we're going too far with our knee drops. So starting with the right knee, just allow it to drop out a few inches to the right, and then slowly bring it back up with ease. And allow the left knee to drop down a few inches. Bringing it back up with ease. And then just alternate back and forth. Going a little bit further. Noticing how it gets harder to bring them up. Paying attention so that you eventually get to that place where it's work to lift, but not too much work, while the back of the opposite hip is still engaged. You may find that one hip has that tipping point of wanting to lift sooner than the other. So you might have more range and motion with one knee dropping than the other. That's fine. Just be curious. Now bring your feet together so the insides of the feet are touching. And I want you to do a few knee drops from this position. Your foot is definitely going to roll onto the outer edge with this. But again, notice the difference between your range of motion, how it feels in your body by changing the position of the feet and bringing them closer together. So now I'm going to ask you to move your feet when you finish the set that you're on. I'm going to ask you to move your feet out wider than your hips. So for most people, it's enough just to move their feet to the edge of their mat, but depending on how you're built, you may need to move them a little further apart, but find that spot. And I'm going to ask you to do alternating knee drops internally so that you're dropping in towards the opposite leg. Again, when you do this, I really want you to not force the knee down, okay? I want you just to let it find where it can drop to and then come back up and repeat on the other side. Then complete the set that you're on, and then if you would please just go ahead and hug your knees to your chest and roll that back out. Allow the legs to grow long on the mat and notice any changes that you may have experienced in your body by doing another soma scan from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes. All right, let's come back up into easy resting pose. Again, checking that the weight distribution between the heels and the balls of the feet are even and the feet are hip width apart. For now, it'll move as you're doing your movements, but for now, try to make sure that the height of the chin is slightly lower than the forehead height. All right, so now I'm going to ask you to just, for now, check range of motion in your neck. Just lying in constructive resting pose, easy resting pose. I just want you to roll your head towards the left and towards the right, just as far as they can go without forcing the movement. And just try to remember how far this is. Really pay attention to it because I want to see how quickly we can change this in the body. All right, so you have your range of motion. You know how far it can go. So I'm going to ask you to interlace your fingers and place them behind your head. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because this will really make sure that you don't roll your head when we do the next two pieces, okay? So I want you to have your eyes open. With the back of your head and the palms of your hands, sensing so that it doesn't move at all, I want you to take both of your eyeballs and roll the eyes in the eye socket to the far right corners. So I really want you to be like you're trying to look out of the right eye. Feel free to blink, but hold your eye over to the right side for a whole minute if you can. If you can't, you can release back to center sooner. But I'm just timing this for us. Just allow the eyes to rest, looking out of the inner and the outer right corners of the eyes. And then release from the right corner of the eye, swing the eyes up, looking up at the ceiling, and then roll them to the inner and outer left corners of the eyes, like you're trying to really look over and see something that's pretty interesting. Just hold the eyes there, again, for one more minute. And then allow the eyes to release. You can close your eyes, move them around inside your head, maybe give them a little gentle rub. But then let's check that range of motion of our neck again. Rolling the neck over to the right and back to the left. And I think you will be surprised to find that you have greatly increased that range of motion by barely working with the neck at all. You've just worked with your eyes. It's kind of a little bit miraculous to me when I first tried this. So I'm going to go ahead and move up on a chair. For the first few pieces, we're going to work on neck rolls, gracious moving meditation, and shoulder pandiculations. If you prefer to sit on the floor on a little zafu like I am, or on a pillow, you can go ahead and do that. But we're going to do the pieces after that, sitting up on a chair. So I just thought I would get into the position now, and you might want to do that as well. So I'll have to move a couple of things around here. So when we're sitting up on the chair, we don't want to be too far back, actually, like I am. We want to sit a little bit more on the upper front edge so that we can actually get in a position. We don't want to be arching forward. We don't want to be slumping back, but we do want to be sitting on our sit bones. So right now I can see a little rock in me, but sitting forward on those sit bones, so we're really engaged. So let's just begin by doing some gentle neck rolls. And I just want you to start by just allowing the head to roll back and forth downwards, not around the back. left to right. And then begin to allow that head to roll around backwards towards the back of the neck. Let's just work on this plane for a bit, backwards from the right to the left shoulder a few times. You might hear some gristly sounds or some popping as you roll through these positions. And then just let your neck do giant circles. All right. Let's just shrug our shoulders up towards our ears. And then release. Okay. To begin with, we want to keep our center line of the body facing forwards. And let's start by taking that right elbow and that right shoulder and gently drawing them backwards. Allow our eyes to be closed, drawing the elbow back and allowing that movement of the elbow to draw the shoulder back as well. And then gently turn our head towards the left shoulder and then float that chin up to the sky. Take a nice long breath or two here. Notice how it feels in that diagonal across the body between the right shoulder and up and across the neck and chin. To me, it always feels like I'm looking up at the sky on a spring day. And then very slowly release the elbow and the shoulder and the neck and the head back to neutral. And pause here. And really try to sense the difference between the right side and the left side of the body. We're going to do it 2 more times on this side of the body. So once again, draw the elbow backwards. Allow that shoulder to come back with it. As that head rolls in the opposite direction and that chin floats up to the sky above. Pausing here. Remembering to keep the center of the body facing forward, not putting a twist in our spine. And slow release. And again, pause, sense. One last time, drawing the elbow and the shoulder back as the head turns and floats the chin up to the sky again. And slow, slow release. Again, pause and sense the difference between the sides of the body. Now we're going to work with the left side. So drawing that elbow backwards as the shoulder draws back with it, feeling the shoulder blade glide towards the spine. Allow that chin to turn towards the right and float up towards the ceiling above. Pause here, breathing into the neck and the shoulder. And slow, slow release and unwind. And again, elbow and shoulder draw back, chin rolls over and then floats up. Long, slow, deep breaths. Release, unwind. One last time. Drawing the elbows and the shoulder back. Chin rolls and lifts. And release. So now we're going to bring the attention back to the right elbow and the right shoulder again, keeping that center alignment going. When we draw back with the elbow and the shoulder on the right side, this time we want to turn the chin towards the same side to the right and allow that chin to float up. Slow release. And one more time on that side. And release. Pause and sense on that side of the body. Let's go to the left side. Elbow draws back, shoulder follows, chin turns towards the left and floats up. And release. Let's repeat one more time. Same side, same direction. And release. Just roll the head a little bit on the neck, do a couple circles. Notice any differences or shifts you feel in the neck and in the shoulders. And starting with the right shoulder. Starting with the right shoulder, let's draw that shoulder forwards, like we're trying to bring it towards the center of our chest. And release. One more time. And release. Now just pause there. Feel the difference between the right and the left side of the body, just by doing this small movement. Now let's repeat with the left side, drawing that shoulder forward like we're trying to bring it to the midline of the body, feeling that shoulder blade pull away from the back of the spine. And releasing. Once again, drawing that shoulder forward, pausing, and releasing. Then pause and sense, noticing if they feel a little more balanced from having done both sides. Coming back to the right shoulder, This time we're going to draw it backwards towards, as if we're trying to draw it towards the spine. You're going to feel some movement in that shoulder blade moving towards the spine, trying to keep that midline of the body facing forward. Slow release. And repeat. Drawing that right shoulder backwards. Shoulder blade glides towards the spine. And release. Left shoulder. Draw that shoulder backwards. Shoulder blade glides in towards the spine. And release. Once again, drawing that shoulder back, shoulder blade glides towards the spine. And release. I'm going to go a little more concentration here, a little bit deeper in the body. This time, let's try to draw both the shoulders forward towards the center of the body, towards the midline at the same time. And then let's release. And draw them backwards, like we're trying to pull those scapula towards each other, and touching in the middle. Think of a butterfly wings. As we draw the shoulders forward again, coming towards the front, we're opening those wings up nice and wide on our backs. And as we draw the shoulders back, towards each other, towards the back of the body, we're closing our wings, bringing them towards each other. And then go ahead and release. Get quiet for a moment. Sense the difference in the body, if you can. Notice how looser those shoulders are feeling, how the neck is feeling. Okay, so we have done this before. We're going to do myofascial for the neck and the jaw. Now, always remember that we can go further, deeper into this movement by lengthening the neck, by lifting it up through the crown of the head, and by dropping the shoulder muscles deliberately. So I'm not going to cue you which side to do first. I want you to pick the side that you feel like you have the most ease in your body. And then I want you to sit on your hand on that side. So you could sit on the back of your fingers, see how that feels, and just do a gentle pull here. Now for me, that feels sharper and not like I'm going to get as good of release. I like to sit with the palm up. So my fingers are touching my sit bone. So when you get into that position, we're going to bring our hand over the top of our head. And if you can, touch that ear. And then you're going to want to gently use pressure on the head. Remember, lifting that head through the crown and using that hand to pull on the head, and you're going to feel like a stretch there. We're going to hold this for 2 minutes. If it becomes too intense for you, go ahead and just release the hands and sit quietly and allow what you've done in your body to rest and integrate. Again, you can deliberately draw that shoulder down further towards the hip and elongate up through the crown of the head. Feel like a lot of work. Feel like there's a lot of sensation happening between the shoulder and the ear. A little bit like you're being pulled. A little stretching feeling. It's a good time to practice that long, slow yogic breath, that umbrella breath from the belly up and through the torso and releasing. And then allow yourself to slowly release from this. And I'm going to ask you, if you would please, to just allow yourself a moment here to pause and notice any shifts or changes that you might be experiencing in the body. And then switch hands to the other side. Again, remembering on the hands over there, if you push up through the crown of the head and draw that shoulder down, you'll get more work. Noticing the difference between this side of the body and the other side of the body. Again, 2 more minutes. Now, if 2 minutes seems like it's getting to be too much, come out of this whenever your body needs. Elongating through the crown, allowing the shoulder muscles to drop down. Only got about a half a minute left. Again, listen to what your body is asking of you. Remember to elongate up through the spine, out the crown of the head, allowing that shoulder to re-engage and drop down further if you can. And then begin to release from this position. Noticing how the body feels as you sit here. Probably feels like your shoulders have just dropped and are hanging. So next we're going to stand up for a moment. And again, starting with the same side, unless you want to mix it up and do it a little bit differently. We're going to take our hand and bring it behind our back if we can, and grab a hold of ourselves. With the opposite hand down by the wrist and pull down and elongate our neck and turn. And if you cannot reach behind your back to do this, reach for the front and do the same thing right there. And allow that neck to roll away from the arm that's stretching. All right? But if you can hold behind, go ahead and do that. And allow that shoulder to gently be pulled down as that neck is turned to the side. And maybe slightly roll the neck back or forth in case there's a spot, an angle that you feel even more sensation that it needs to be in. If your head starts dropping forwards, reposition it so that your ear is coming down towards the shoulder. Check in on your knees, make sure you're not locking them. Try to have a neutral pelvis, nice and balanced. Look at that beautiful, perfect mountain pose we've worked on before together. We're at about a half minute left. If your body needs to come out, please honor that. If you can stand being here for a few more seconds, please do so. And then release the body, the arm, release the head and the neck. Maybe roll your head back and forth a bit. But I want you to pause and sense how that side of the body feels in comparison with the side that we haven't done this with yet. We're going to find that perfect position again. So again, try to access it by reaching behind the body and pulling down on the other side by the wrist, on the forearm at least. If you cannot reach behind the back, again, reach around the front and pull down that way. So we're going to begin pulling down in the arm and bending at the neck over towards that shoulder, like we're trying to draw that ear down. Again, remember, you can stretch out through the crown of the head. Don't lock the knees. Keep them soft. Relax the face and the mouth if you can, keeping the eyes soft in the eye sockets as well. Don't let the head roll forward. Check on the alignment in the hips. Trying to have a neutral pelvis. We have about a minute left. About 1/2 minute left. If your body is begging to come out, honor that. If you can stay with this for a little bit longer, please do so. And slowly, gently releasing from that. We can come back down to seated on our chairs. Remembering to sit towards the front on our sit bones. And pause and feel how our shoulders feel, how our neck and jaw are feeling. Now, we have done so far, since we're sitting here, we have done the Mushti Mudra, which is making our hands into fists and bringing our thumbs up towards our ring fingers for Ahimsa. We've worked on the Kali Mudra, interlacing our fingers and pointing forward or bringing them upright to help us with truthfulness. And today we're going to work with the Hasta Mudra, which is the hand mudra. And it's simply bringing the hands out before us with the sides of the hands touching so that we're in a position of both offering and receiving. So you just want to have your hands forward and the palms turned upward, releasing fear of not having enough. Now, if you ever want to work with this with a mantra that would go along with it, it would be Om Shri Mahalakshmi Ye Swaha. And that is a sweet chant of asking for abundance from Lakshmi in our lives. So part of non-stealing is to have everything that we need, not everything we want, but what we need for ourselves. So this helps us prepare for that. We're going to sit in this for a little bit. I'll just do that little chant that goes along with it. If you want to do it at home, feel free. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Ye Swaha. 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 All right. We're going to get ready for our final relaxation. So just come back down onto the floor, onto your backs. Now, if you want to, you can be in easy resting pose this whole time. It'll give you a little extra energy for the evening. And at the same time, it will give that psoas a much needed release. On the other hand, if you really, really just want to integrate this work into your body and relax for a while and settle back in, I would encourage you then to prop your underneath your knees instead, put a little pillow under your head, an eye mask over your eyes if you have one nearby, maybe a blanket tossed over you to stay warm. Whatever you need for comfort and ease. And as you settle in, relax the weight of your body into the floor. Noticing how the floor supports you. Noticing how the body makes contact with the support of the floor. Relax the back of your legs, the back of your hips, your lower back, middle back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your arms, the back of your neck, and the back of your head. Make any adjustments that you need to. Relaxing the body into the ground more fully. Release into the support of the earth below completely. Relax the muscles of your face. Relax your eyes and your forehead. Relax your temples and your cheeks. Relax your mouth and jaw. Relax your whole face. And place your hands in your belly if they aren't already, feeling the rise and the fall of your breath as you breathe. Notice each inhalation as it enters your body, and each exhalation as the breath leaves your body. Allow your breathing to be soft, full, and easy, no effort. Just allow the body to be breathed. As you inhale, say silently, let. And as you exhale, say silently, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Continue to observe the breath, letting the body sink deeper and deeper into relaxation. Let your arms rest by your side. As you exhale, make a soft fist with each hand. And as you inhale, relax the fist and let your hands remain softly curled and relaxed. Allow the body to sink deeper and deeper into the earth below. Now bring your awareness to your feet. Feel the soles of your feet and all 10 toes. Imagine that you could inhale and exhale through the soles of your feet. Imagine the breath entering the body through the soles of the feet and exiting the body through the soles of the feet. Inhale, exhale. Now bring your awareness to your hands. Feel the backs of the hands, the palms of the hands, and all 10 fingers. Imagine that you can inhale and exhale through the palms of your hands. Imagine the breath entering the body through the palms of your hands and exiting the body through the palms of your hands. Inhale and exhale. Now bring your awareness to your belly, feeling the belly rise and fall as you breathe. Imagining that you can inhale and exhale through the navel. Imagine the breath entering the body through the navel and filling the belly. And imagine the breath exiting the body through the navel. Inhale, exhale. Now let your mind relax deeper below the awareness of the breath. Allow the mind to relax below the level of concentration on anything including the breath. Let the body and the mind let go completely. Notice your breathing. Notice each inhalation as it enters the body and each exhalation as it exits the body. Bring your hands to the belly and feel the belly rise and fall. Allowing your breath to be soft, full, and easy. Notice the whole body. Notice the whole body supported by the floor. Notice how easy it is to be in your body in this moment, feeling fully supported in this pose and in all areas of your life. And then wiggling the toes and the fingers. Rolling the hands and the feet on the wrists and the ankles. Go ahead and hug your knees to your chest, rolling the back out. And then stretch nice and long, stretching the body in any direction and in any way that it needs to. And then hugging your knees back to your chest. In this curled up position, roll over onto your left side and take a few breaths. And then gently push yourself back up into a seated position. We're going to do, once again, the metta meditation, the loving kindness meditation for 2 minutes. I'll start off repeating the meditation 3 times for you, and you just let my words be your words, and then continue in silence on your own. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart. We're going to close today with the prayer to the Mother again. Ma Shaktidi, Ma Sabudidi, Ma Sanmark Perlichol, Ma Muche Apne Sarnemle. O Mother, give me power and wisdom. O Mother, give me the creative intelligence through which I can tread my path. Lead me on the right path, O Mother. O Mother, take me in your lap and protect me always. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Thank you for being here again today.